Greetings. Today we'll focus some attention on Chapter 5, Trait Theories. And here we begin to look at more of the individual characteristics and individual predispositions which may explain in part criminal behavior. This is an interesting area. Research is emerging in much greater quantity in the recent years, and we've seen some changes in how criminal justice professionals think about the explanations of criminal behavior. So, if we start off, we may look back in criminal justice history and the whole idea of biological positivism and the work of Cesare Lombroso. The whole idea that criminals were born. In other words, there were particular characteristics inside the criminal mind, the brain, if you will, that led to criminal behaviors. And we can see this theory historically in a variety of settings in medicine in general, and specifically in psychiatry, for example. But we'll begin to take a closer look at more of the modern theories. And really, this whole idea of biological criminology has really shifted toward what we might call biosocial theory. In other words, taking a closer look at the links between physical and psychological characteristics or traits, one's social environment and group influences, and behavior, whether it be criminal or non-criminal. So a lot of this is based on the sociobiological theories, which look at biological and genetic conditions and the interactions with the social environment. So here we begin to look at multiple factors interacting. Basically, your author defines biosocial theory as physical, environmental, and social conditions that work together to produce human behavior. And so we focus a lot of attention on the brain and behavior, on the structure of the brain and functions of specific brain parts, and brain-based chemicals and such as neurotransmitters and toxins that can affect the brain in a variety of ways. For example, alcohol or drugs, certain types of chemicals that we may ingest, such as sugar or caffeine, hormonal fluctuations, allergies, exposure to other toxins in the environment, such as pesticides and the like. So the biosocial theory begins to look at the neurological aspects and some factors related to brain dysfunctions and other issues. For example, there might be an explanation that there's a biological brain-based basis for particular mental disorders. And you can see in your textbook, and you'll see on television and social media, brain scans. This is one's brain on heroin, and this is a brain on coffee, and this is a sleeping brain, and this is a brain without drugs, etc., etc. And different parts of the brain seem to have more activity, looking at blood flow perhaps and measuring that, and then making some connections with social behavior. And so we start looking at how these all interact in a variety of ways. In addition, we would look at genetic aspects of criminal behavior and the whole idea that there may be genetic predispositions for criminal behavior passed on from generation to generation, or from the parents, or there may be damage to certain genetic structure certain genes that may lead to criminal behavior. And it may be a situation where there may be a genetic predisposition, and with the biosocial model, this combines with the environment that the person lives in, and it also may be related to if it creates a certain situation with brain structure and also neurotransmission and the chemicals in the brain. For example, regulation of impulses, or what we refer to as impulse control, the ability to control one's impulses. The person wants that candy bar, but they don't have any money, so they say, well, I'll wait till I have enough money and come back and purchase it, versus someone who says, I want that candy bar, I want it now, I don't have any money, I'll just lift it, put it in my pocket, and hope I don't get caught. So we have these different scenarios. Well, how do you explain that? And then there's some more recent studies that look at siblings and twin research, and look at the whole idea that that the more likely genetics are shared, the more likely we see similarities in a variety of social behaviors. For example, if one identical twin has some criminal behavior, then there's a greater chance, the research shows, that the other twin would also. And of course, the converse would be stated, that if the one twin doesn't have show criminal behavior, the other one is more likely not to as well. There's a lot of debate about genetic research, and there's really we're moving at a very rapid pace in this area, but there's still a lot of questions that remain unanswered. And there's also adoption studies that we look at as well. And within this whole idea of biosocial theory, we also have evolutionary theory. That the idea here is that evolutionary processes relates to how we proceed in interactions. For example, that the whole idea that, for example, based on evolutionary, sociobiological evolutionary theory, that men tend to be more promiscuous than women is related in this perspective not necessarily to the socialization process of male and female gender roles, as sociologists might point out, but to a evolutionary process where it was beneficial for men to be more promiscuous and try to fertilize or to spread their genetics with as many women as possible, while it was better evolutionary adaptation for women to be extremely selective in their mates and choose the best possible partner in that sense. If, for example, on television, I once heard a politician refer something that he had an affair or a sexual interaction, and he said that he believed that it was in his genes. And we aren't talking about Levi's. What we're talking about here is his genetic predisposition to engage in multiple sexual partner behavior. And many would say, well, that's just an excuse we just won't accept. But others would say, well, there is some research showing that perhaps there is some basis for this type of behavior. And the same, of course, would be said for violent behavior, that the violence comes from years and years of using this when it was adaptive. It may no longer be adaptive, and a lot of social technological changes have occurred, but it's still stuck with us. And there's a lot of debate about these particular theories. And what I would say before we wrap up this segment is, just because something has a biosocial connection or an evolutionary explanation in that regard doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy or good or bad. That we create and decide what is considered to be our values, and what is considered to be good, and what is considered to be bad. And so we do get that criticism that these models, while demonstrating in the research some relationships and connections between certain brain structures or chemicals or structures or evolutionary background, and then behaviors that certainly society may have an impact as well. And this wraps up this part.